Your brain is not broken, it is simply outdated. Think about the last time you sat down to write a difficult report. You open your laptop, take a deep breath, and begin typing. Suddenly, your phone buzzes with a frantic email from a client. You switch tabs to read it, your heart rate spikes, and you feel that familiar knot of stress in your stomach. You squint at the screen, type a quick, defensive reply, and hit send. But as you switch back to your report, you don't feel relief. Instead, for the next 20 minutes, parts of your mind are still hovering over that email. You are typing sentences, but you're thinking about the tone of your reply, wondering if you should have said more, replaying the client's angry words. You are physically working on one task, but your cognitive resources are split, frayed, and inefficient. You feel exhausted, not because you worked hard, but because you were never truly present in either moment. This is the central truth of your daily mental life. Your attention was never designed for the modern world. The same biological systems that kept your ancestors alive on the savannah are the ones hijacking your focus every few seconds, and understanding these ancient mechanisms is the only way to take your mind back. Let's start with that feeling of being stuck in the past while trying to live in the present. Psychologists call this attention residue. When you switch from a stressful email to your work, you do not cleanly sever the connection to the first task. A portion of your processing power remains attached to the unfinished or unresolved previous activity. This residue actively degrades your performance on the new task because your brain is fighting to close the loop on the old one. Researchers found that performance on a new task is measurably impaired when a prior task is left unfinished, simply because the mind clings to open loops. The residue is significantly worse when the previous task was interrupted rather than completed, which is why sudden interruptions are so cognitively expensive. However, simply setting an explicit completion plan can reduce this carryover, allowing the brain to finally let go. But that is only half of it, because even when you are fully focused, your brain has a literal blind spot. Consider walking through a crowded party. You spot your friend's face across the room and lock on them. In that exact moment, someone right next to your friend begins waving desperately at you. You do not see them. This is the attentional blink. After your attention locks onto one target, there's a window of roughly half a second where a second target is likely to be missed entirely, even though your eyes are pointed straight at it. This is not a failure of vision. It is a bottleneck in consciousness. Processing the first item consumes the neural resources needed to register the next. Awareness has a refractory period, much like a camera shutter that must reset. Studies show that identification of a second target is severely impaired 200 to 500 milliseconds after the first in rapid visual streams. Your brain is so busy stamping the first piece of information as important that it literally cannot process anything else for a brief moment. This evolutionary filter, designed to help you track a predator or prey, now causes you to miss critical information in a high-speed digital stream. And when you finally calm down and sit on your couch, this scarcity of attention meets an abundance of options, leading to choice overload. You open a streaming service, intending to watch something new. There are thousands of titles. You scroll. You read a synopsis, look at a thumbnail, and hesitate. You scroll again. 20 minutes pass, and you end up rewatching a show you have already seen. Why? Too many options increase the mental effort and anxiety of choosing well, since you now have to compare far more possibilities. You live with more potential regret over what you did not pick, fearing you missed the best option. Past a certain point, more choice lowers both satisfaction and the odds that you choose at all. Famous research demonstrated this clearly. A table offering 6 jams generated more purchases than a table offering 24, even though the larger display attracted more initial interest. The sheer volume paralyzes your decision-making circuitry, turning a simple desire for entertainment into a stressful calculation of opportunity costs. But the most insidious trap combines all of these weaknesses into the compulsion loop. The episode ends, and a 5-second countdown appears. You do nothing. The next episode begins. You did not decide to watch it. You decided not to stop. This design exploits the fact that decisions cost energy. Making continuation the default and stopping the effortful choice means you stay in the loop by inertia rather than intention. Combine that passive default with unresolved narrative tension and a reward that arrives on an unpredictable schedule, and you create a system that runs on your brain's path of least resistance. This draws on established findings and default effects on choice and variable ratio reinforcement schedules, alongside the Zeigarnik effect, which describes how our minds obsess over unresolved tasks. The show leaves you hanging, keeping your attention residue high, while the autoplay removes the need for a conscious decision, bypassing your frontal cortex entirely. The counterintuitive takeaway is that your inability to focus is not a moral failure or a lack of discipline. It is a biological mismatch. Your brain is an antique machine trying to run modern software. It was built to switch quickly to survive threats, to blink past distractions, to avoid paralysis in simple choices, and to conserve energy by following defaults. When you understand that your attention has hard limits and soft weaknesses, you stop fighting your own biology and start designing your environment around it. You can plan for completion to clear residue, accept the blink by slowing down your intake, curate your choices to reduce overload, and actively choose to stop rather than letting the default roll you forward. Your mind is not your enemy. It is just old. And now that you know how it works, you can finally steer it. If you want to keep unlocking the secrets of how your mind actually works, subscribe for more deep dives into the psychology of everyday life.